It's William with the Riverstone Life, and you know what? We're going to talk about something a little different today. You know my favorite camera is this Insta360 X4. I love this camera, but I was using it the other day doing a time lapse, and the wind blew it over and it scratched the lens. Now, if you go on YouTube, everybody shows you buffing it out, okay? You can buff it out, but mine was a pretty deep scratch, so you just couldn't buff it out. What I did is I started buffing it, and I kept buffing it until I got about half of it out. And then I kept doing it, and it finally cracked the lens. See, my lens is totally gone now. What happened is it cracked it, and when it cracked it, I just shoved a little screwdriver in there, and I popped the whole unit out. And I thought, well, wow, that's great. Maybe I can just use it like that. You can't. It distorts it. Let me just show you once. See, everything is blurry without that on there. So I thought, well, I guess I just, destroyed the camera. Going to have to get a new one. No, that's not the case. Nobody out there is talking about this. You can buy replacement lenses from Amazon and eBay. Here's the replacement lens, and it pops right into that existing spot. So if you have one, you can just take a little dinky drill and just drill it a little bit and then stick a little punch in there and pop the whole thing right out. It comes right out. You can see I got both of them gone now. They're both out of there. That's what it looks like. And then you can order, these are like 35 bucks a piece, but that's better than buying a $500 camera. And nobody seems to talk about this. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to throw this out there and show people what we got. So I'm not quite sure how it all works yet. But I wanted to show you this. This is the replacement lens. And it's supposed to fix that problem. And it's supposed to pop in there. But now I got to find a way to get it in there. So that's a whole nother deal. But this is where we're at right now. So we're going to see what we can do with this, and we'll be right back. Well, after a little more research on this, you are supposed to heat this all up, pry it apart, and crack open the whole unit to replace these lenses with this new cover. Okay? I've watched some people do it now. I've found some people on YouTube that were actually replacing it and what you have to do. It's kind of like working on an old smartphone. I used to do iPhones all the time. But I'm not sure that's what you have to do. In my opinion, I think that I can trim this edge right around here, clean it up real good, epoxy the corners, and push that lens right in without tearing the whole thing apart. I wouldn't recommend you to be, dipping it in the ocean after that. I mean, it did have a little seal around inside there. So you might get water behind that lens and mess up your camera at that time. But I don't know if I want to destroy this whole thing right now. I want to see if I can do it the way I'm thinking. So I am going to trim this edge right around here. And then if it'll drop right down in there after I do that, because I think it will. Because that's the piece you got to tear the whole thing apart. Tear the lenses, unplug everything in there. And you're actually ripping stuff that I don't even have to replace once I pull it apart. I could get it. The guy ordered other stuff to seal it back up properly. But I think I can trim that whole ring around there. It's just really thin aluminum. And I can drop this right down inside there and epoxy it. I already tried it on the other side, and I do have it going in, you see. And I turn the camera on. I'm always trying to find an easier way. And if you look at this right now, you kind of hold it in there, but it looks perfect. So I think if I epoxy that in there and get it in there just right without getting the epoxy in the wrong spot, you're going to have to take your time, but I think it'll look brand new. And see, the lens is back out, and you see how crappy it looks now. So that's my goal. I already trimmed this side. I got to trim the other side now. So we're going to finish this up. I'm going to go get some epoxy, some black epoxy, and I'm going to epoxy it in there where it should seal perfectly along that edge right there, and let it set for a while, and then I'll show the video again, and we're going to go out and test this thing and see if it still works. And that might be the easiest fix, but all I did was take a little sharp knife and walk it around that thing and peel that thing to the perfect size. It took me about 15 minutes, a little bit of time, a nice little pointy sharp knife, and try not to scratch your other lens in there or anything like that. But so far, this might be a great idea. So this might be the fastest way for somebody to get their camera back going, and I don't have to throw it away. So is this definitely the best way to fix this? I don't know. But is it the easiest way to fix it? Yes. If you have an Insta360 X4 camera out there you can't use, you want to be able to use it, this is a quick and easy way to do it. I mean, I'll just show you what I did. I had a sharp little knife like this, and I took it around here like this, and I worked that lip. And if you see, this has the lip on it. There's the lip that holds it in. This would be the new piece that would go on with the new lens. And I just etched that lip all the way around. Now, if you have like a small little Dremel and you're really good with it, you could Dremel that really easily, not touch the other lens, and be fine. Then clean it all up real good. Here's the new lens. It drops right down in. I'm going to epoxy it with some clear epoxy that'll keep it in there. As long as you get that epoxy on the right on the edges perfectly and drop it in there perfectly and let it dry. Don't touch it. Don't move it for a while. It will work. Let me turn this thing on once. And look, besides my fingers in the picture, you can actually view everything now. You can see without that lens on there, when I click it, how blurry it is on the back one, because I don't have the back one in the spot. But that's all I did, and it just drops right in there. Now, you could tear it all apart if you have the extra time and you have all the equipment to do that, and then worry about messing something else out, and then you just got a paperweight. This you can do pretty simple, and you can throw this right in there. And you can go out and do your pictures and everything just like you were before for 35 bucks. If you only mess one up, it's only $35 for one of them you got to do. Both of mine were messed up. Actually, the one was scratched up. The other one had light scratches I probably could have buffed out, and I thought, you know what, I've already messed it up. I'm just going to go over and drill this one real quick and see if I can just pop it out. So all I did was put a little drill hole into it, stick a little punch in there, and go like this, pried it like that. It did crack and break, came out in two pieces, but it came right out, no problem. So all you're doing is getting rid of that little bezel right there that's on there. You could Dremel that off, drop the new one in there. I mean, it probably still would be waterproof if you get the epoxy in there right. If you epoxy it right, it'll probably still be waterproof. I mean, I'm going to use it this way, and if it till it stops working, I'm going to keep using it. I'm not going to change anything the way I was doing things. It's just, you know, I know that I can always pop it out, and now mine's easy for replacement. If this works, I can have a backup lens for me, and I can just pop it off and epoxy the new one back in all the time. So mine is ready for replacement all the time. Why didn't they do this in the first place? Make it so you could just pop that out so you don't have to throw the thing away. And look at that. That one's got the protective lens on it that I wish I would have had when I first purchased this thing. But for some reason I thought I was so good that nothing would happen. But guess we found out that I'm not that good, right? But look at the front one. And then after I got it all epoxied in, I went around with my little black marker and just touched it up so you don't see any scratches or anything like that. And looks good. The epoxy's still drying, but I'm gonna put the lens protective thing over it from now on. But if you see the picture in there, I can use my camera again. Look at that. Looks good, doesn't it? So for what, $70, I fixed this camera that I thought I was going to have to throw in the trash, and I did not have to tear it apart or worry about ruining anything else. But I will tell you one thing. If you were a little more precision when you remove that lip, this one here, it actually would probably stay in there. I mean, I trimmed it really nice on the second one and got it where it just clicked right in. So I did put the epoxy in there so it should stop any moisture or water getting in there or getting it from falling out. But if you just Dremel that really nice, you'll be able to drop the new one right in real easy. I think this is the way to go. I would never tear this apart after this. This worked perfect. I mean, if you had a little Dremel and you just Dremel that thing out and get it so that lens pops in there perfect, you could just use a little super glue if you wanted to, and then put your lens caps back on it and protect it that way. But it's sealed. and it's working great. So I'm going to go out and shoot a little video with it today before I upload this video, just to show you guys that it still does a great job. And those are clicked on. Look at that. It's actually the part number. I'll have Robin put it down in the description. That's one of the part numbers. This one came from Amazon because I could get it quicker. They were cheaper on eBay. So if you're not in a big hurry, eBay was like $10 cheaper. But I saved my camera. It's a good day.